Hey there, this is Sarah Griffith. I wanted to make this video for all of you who have been following along for my postpartum journey as well as for yours. So I know that some of you have connected with me over on some of my social media platforms, maybe because of my pregnancy or now my postpartum journey. So what I wanted to do today was I wanted to film a special video for that mom who is about to go to her 6-week postpartum appointment, and she's starting to think about what's going to happen at this appointment. What are they going to do? What are they going to ask? What can I expect? And then I'm just going to share some insight on what you're going to be dealing with in the coming weeks, months, as you journey through year one of being postpartum. So I first want to start out by saying that for those of you who had a vaginal delivery, your magic number or your magic week is 6 weeks. So the information that I'm starting to talk about as we go forward, the magic number is 6 weeks. If you had a C-section, your magic number is typically 8. It's sometimes 10, depending on your healing process. Now, granted, all of these things are going to depend on how your labor and delivery was. So everybody's different, but for the most part, the standard, the two numbers that I'll be referring to are the 6 weeks or the 8 weeks. So you get to decide which category you're in based off of the type of birth that you had. So I had an induction and I had a vaginal delivery. My delivery was very quick. I have a history of what's called precipitous labor. So my babies come very quickly, which can often be difficult for healing. So anyways, we're gonna dive into, we're gonna go now into that 6-week appointment, and I'm just gonna be saying 6 weeks again because that's my situation. This number may be 8 for you depending on where you are. So I wrote down some notes here that I want to cover with all of you because I don't want to miss it. And I feel like when I was a first-time mom, I wish that somebody would have told me all this. I remember being so anxious before I went to my appointment. So anyways, number one, make the appointment and go to it. I can't believe that women actually blow this appointment off, but I was speaking to one of my friends and she shared with me, she's like, nope, it's common that sometimes they just don't come. So that was just totally crazy to me because this is a really important appointment, and I actually am going to encourage you to make this appointment fun. And I know you're thinking, a visit to the OB to get everything checked out postpartum does not sound like that much fun, but I want you to think of it as a celebration. You're celebrating the fact that you just made it through 6 weeks, probably 6 of the hardest weeks of being a mom, especially if you're a first-time mom. Every time you have a baby, it's hard, but the first time is when things are really like, whoa, my world just really changed. So you have to give yourself grace, but I want you to make this an appointment, a celebration. And I want you, if you can, I want you to find a sitter for your baby. Maybe it's your husband, maybe it's a family member, but I really would encourage you to go by yourself and to get out of the house by yourself before you go to the appointment or after you go to the appointment. I would encourage you to get yourself a Starbucks if that's your thing. Maybe take 20 or 30 minutes to go shopping. Like, do something for you and celebrate you and what your body just did. So that's my 2 cents in regards to my appointment and your appointment. I will not be hopefully not be taking anyone with me to my appointment. I just want to go so that I can have time to speak with my doctor and not stress about, my goodness, the baby's here or my toddler's here or whatever. Like, I just want to go and really have that opportunity to have a one-on-one time with my doctor. Now, if you do take your little one, that's totally fine. It's actually probably pretty common. And your doctor will be excited because they delivered your baby for the most part. The person you're seeing was the person who delivered your baby, and so they want to see them, see how things are going. So either option is totally okay, but I would just encourage you to do something to celebrate. So what I'm going to do is start at the beginning. So one of the first things that you will probably have happen is you will have a screening. It's actually a mental health screening. So I think the official name is the Edinburgh, the Edinburgh postnatal screening. And so this is a screening in the United States that is given at almost every single postpartum doctor's appointment. And it's a really short piece of paper, and they ask you I think it's 10 questions. And these 10 questions ask you to rate how you're feeling about certain situations in regards to, like, are you crying often? Are you having trouble feeling excited about things that used to excite you? Are you blaming yourself for certain things? And basically, it's a screening test to determine if you're struggling with postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression. Now, I want to really encourage you to be honest on this piece of paper, right? Because they're going to hand you this and you're going to say, I know what they're looking for, right? Because anybody would know by looking at this paper, okay, they're trying to screen me to see if I'm having any mental health concerns. And for those of you who maybe never walked the road of dealing with mental health, you might want to try to cover it up, and that's not okay. So if you're not feeling okay and you've been struggling, please speak up. They have so many outlets to help you and they want to help you, but they can't help you if you're silently suffering. So if you are struggling, check every box that applies. Be so honest on the scale because then they can help you right away. Now, some of you are going to say, you know what, today I feel awesome. And you're going to check all the boxes and you're going to pass with flying colors. But then some of you may find, and I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm just saying it so that you understand the reality that some of you may get 3, 6, 9, even 12 months postpartum, and all of a sudden you start displaying signs of postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression. Same thing. I want you to speak up. I want you to have the courage to tell someone, whether it's a spouse, a family member, you need to say to them, I'm not okay. I need to get some help. And then I want you to call your OB. That's actually where I want you to start. Call the OB's office. They can actually prescribe you medication for it. And I know that some of you are like, I don't want to take the medicine. That's fine. You can start to go see a counselor, but you still need to have the conversation with your OB about how you're feeling. So I just want you to know that treatment is very easy, especially if you're having it like right away. So those of you who go to the 6-week appointment, if you're already exhibiting the signs of like severe postpartum anxiety or depression, you've got to speak up because you're really at risk, and so is your little one. I know that there is, I don't know much about it, but I know that there are actually medications now that they can give for those who are struggling with it, like extreme, like hospitalization type. There's like an actual, and I don't know the research behind it, but there's actually medication that they can give you that will help you right away. Not just an antidepressant, but something much more intense. And I believe they do give that through inpatient. So again, that's like really high end on the spectrum. But for the mom who's just like, oh my gosh, I think I have postpartum anxiety, tell them. They will help you, okay? So that's just my 2 cents. And the reason why I'm really an advocate for this is because after I had my second baby, I actually suffered with a little bit of those symptoms. I'll be done in a minute, okay? Mommy's doing a video, okay? We'll do it together in a few minutes. Sorry. My son was looking for me. But anyways, so I did struggle with those things and I suffered silently for a long time. So my symptoms, my daughter was born in May. My symptoms did not show up until October and I ran from them. I thought I was ready to get help in November, but when I went to the appointment and they prescribed me the antidepressants and anti-anxieties, I ran from them. So I did not take them. I didn't even fill them. And I, again, suffered silently until that April. And then that April, my mind just couldn't take any more of it. And we suffered a traumatic loss. I had a miscarriage at 12 weeks. And that was just enough to set me over the edge that I knew that I needed to get help. So I have never actually been medicated for it. So for those of you who might have questions about the medicines, I'm not the best person to ask because I haven't taken any. But I am the person to talk to if you're thinking about going the counseling route. So I enrolled myself in counseling, and because I was struggling with the tragedy, like the actual loss, I went pretty often. I went every week for a little bit, and then I went every 2 weeks, and then I went once a month, and I actually haven't been since I've had this baby. So I plan to go soon just for like a check-in. I'm not actually struggling with any postpartum anxiety or depression at this time, but I just like my counselor now. She's like one of my friends. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. Please don't suffer alone, okay? All right, moving on. So what are they going to do next? So they're going to offer you that. They're not going to offer it, actually. They're going to make you do it. So you're going to take that screening, and then they're going to take your vitals. They're going to weigh you. They're going to check your blood pressure. They're going to ask you, just how are you feeling? You won't have to take a urine test because you're not pregnant anymore, at least hope you're not. You could be, so if you think you are, speak up because it's not going to be routine that you do the urine test. Now, what they're going to do is they are going to ask you questions about your choice for birth control. So if you haven't started to think about that, now's the time. Some of you may want to jump right into another pregnancy, and if that's the case, you don't need to worry about birth control. But for those of you who are saying, I'm not quite ready, you need to think about there's IUDs that you can do. There's actual birth control pills. Some of you are still breastfeeding and plan to do so for a while. So when you're breastfeeding, you can't take a regular birth control pill. You have to take what's called the mini pill. So they can prescribe that for you. And that one is not quite as effective as regular birth control. So just be careful. And this is also a great time for you to speak with your spouse if your heart's feeling like you're done, but you don't want to go the route of an IUD or getting your own tubes tied. You may want to speak to your spouse about getting a vasectomy. And so if you guys get a vasectomy, I say you guys, but it's a he thing. So if he goes and gets that done, once you have it, you're still not in the clear right away. You have to wait. I want to say it's like at least 3 months. So they will come back for a recheck in 3 months. And at that time, as long as their sperm count numbers are pretty much gone, then you're good to go. But otherwise, in the meantime, you got to have a backup plan. So another thing that they're going to probably ask you is they're going to ask you questions about breastfeeding if you are. If you're not breastfeeding, it won't be something that's covered. But one thing that I would really encourage you to do is ask for a breast exam if they don't do one. Some offices do, some don't, but ask for one. Your breasts have just went through, your hormones have done a ton of changing, your body's done a lot. It doesn't hurt to get a really good breast exam by your doctor to see if anything feels out of sorts. Now, granted, if you are breastfeeding, things may feel different to you just because of milk ducts and whatnot, but get a breast exam, okay? It's really important. I say this because I had a partial mastectomy on my right breast. I'm missing about 30% of my breast and milk ducts because I had a borderline malignant phylloides tumor in college, and so I am definitely a proponent of feel them. Make sure they feel okay. You will know what's normal or what's not. So another thing that is going to come up whenever you go to this appointment is they're going to probably tell you that you're cleared for intercourse. And some of you are like, I'm not going to tell my spouse. I don't want to do that right now. And I joke, but I've worked with a lot of clients over the last 5 years and have done a couple of postpartum only groups, and that's something that comes up in all the groups. Whenever we talk about the subject of sex, a lot of them say to me, I'm like almost a year postpartum and I have no interest, or, I'm struggling to have things feel the same that they used to. And to be honest with you, things aren't the same. They're not going to feel the same as they used to. Things that worked in the past, they may not work this time. So you and your significant other are going to have to work to find out, what do you enjoy now? What is it? Things will be a little bit drier down there if you're breastfeeding, so you need to probably invest in some good lubrications or whatnot, and that's going to change. Again, if you stop nursing, that will get better, but while you're nursing, you can expect it to be a little bit more difficult in regards to that. So anyways, this is a thing with the sex stuff. So if you've had more than one baby, especially, you want to probably make sure that you're doing Kegel exercises. That will help to get you back to where you kind of were as far as the feeling of enjoying it. And same for your spouse. So I won't go into too much detail, but just look into that. There's lots of great stuff out there. Okay, so the next thing is exercise. A lot of you are feeling excited because you're going to be cleared for exercise at this point. For me, that's the most exciting point of the postpartum appointment for me. I'm ready to be exercising again. I miss it. I followed the rules. I haven't exercised for 6 weeks, and so I'm really glad and grateful that I'm going to have that chance. So basically, what they're going to do is when they do your check, so they will probably check you down there to make sure everything is healed. As long as it's healed, they'll say, thumbs up, you can have sex again, you can exercise, you can go back to the old you. But the thing is, you're not the old you. And even though they cleared you to go back, you should expect that when you do go back, things will feel different. You will probably be out of shape. You will be sore when you return to an exercise routine because for some of you, you haven't worked out during pregnancy. So start slow. Pick a program that's not too intense. I do Beachbody programs. I would not do Insanity right now. I would not do 80-Day Obsession right now. I'm not ready. So I'm actually choosing, myself, I'm choosing a 4-day-a-week program. It's 30 minutes a day. It's cardio, core, and strength training, and I'm excited about it because it's only 4 days. I am just, you're in the trenches. At 6 weeks postpartum, you're still around the clock awake. You're just adjusting to your new life. So for me, 4 days a week, it sounds much more attractive than trying to get back to a 7 day a week program. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Whenever you go to do these workouts, so the other day I tried to do one and I did notice that my core strength really was not good. Things that I used to be very, felt very easy to me were extremely challenging. So expect it. Go into this expecting yourself to feel like the underdog. You have time. It took you almost 10 months to grow this baby. It's going to take you a long, I don't want to say a long time, but give yourself a year, or say to yourself, I don't expect to be where I was for a solid year. That was how I was with my daughter Grace, and it took me a good 6 months to get back to really truly where I was from a strength standpoint. So expect that to happen. One thing that you need to do, probably if you're breastfeeding, your breasts are going to feel heavier. So if you don't have a good sports bra, I would go out and get one. I tried to do a workout in like a flimsy sports bra the other night, and I am breastfeeding, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my heavens, where did these come from? So get yourself a great bra if you're going to be working out. One thing that's not okay or not normal is peeing. And a lot of women joke about it. They're like, oh my gosh, I pee every time I do a jumping jack or every time I run. Even though that's the norm, because we talk about it, we joke about it, it's actually not. It's not normal. It's not okay. So if you're peeing when you sneeze or when you jump or whatever, talk to your OB and tell them that you're doing that. You can actually do pelvic floor therapy, and you can hopefully get that fixed, okay? I can't promise it'll completely go away, but there is definitely help. Don't expect that that's the normal. Just because you had a baby does not mean that you need to pee every time you do a jumping jack. And I don't mean like, oh, I have to go to the restroom. I mean like it's coming out of you and you can't control it. Okay, so speak up if that's the case. It's not normal, and don't let all your girlfriends tell you that it is. If it is, you should all go to pelvic floor therapy together and get it fixed. Okay, so another thing with the workouts, I would encourage you to really dial in on your nutrition, because you can work out like a boss constantly, really hard, and not see results. And that's because your nutrition's not in check. So when you do this, when you decide to go all in and exercise, do both. Okay, so exercise, but focus on your nutrition too. Find a plan that aligns with, if you're breastfeeding, you need those extra calories. The worst thing you can do right now is not eat enough food. I eat tons of food. I'm losing all my all my baby weight. I'm getting back to my pre-pregnancy size. My supply is staying very high, and it's because I'm taking this seriously, and I'm treating it with my body with the respect that it deserves, and I'm fueling it with the food that it deserves. So anyways, keep that in mind, and that's my 2 cents. Now, one last thing. Whenever you go, some of you may have a separation between your abdominal muscles. It's called like what the official name is, like I'm not even going to try to say it. It's like why can't I say it right now? I'm having trouble on the spot. But anyways, it's an ab separation. I know what it is. Why can I not think of the word? Anyways, I'm not going to waste time. So when you go, if you have that, ask them. Like, say to them, do you think I have any separation between my abdominal muscles and my stomach? Like, how do you think it looks? Because if you do have that, you need to be careful when you return to core exercise. There are certain moves that will actually impede your healing. So make sure you check on that. Ask your doctor, do I have this? Is this an issue? So that when you return to exercise, you are doing the right things. Now, this stuff, this is not stuff that they're going to probably talk to you about at your appointment, but it's just, I'm a third-time mom, so this is like, hey, me saying heads up. So number one, you should expect your hair to fall out. And I know you're like, what? Okay, your hair is definitely going to fall out. So right now, my hair is still pretty thick. It's not falling out yet. I'm still taking my prenatal vitamins. You should be too, especially if you're breastfeeding. But what's going to happen is, as your hormones continue to come down, you're going to lose the extra hair. So if your hair was really full during pregnancy, it's going to start to come out, and it will come out. There will be a little bit of a time where you will go like this in the shower and it will be handfuls. And I remember when I had my son, this was the first time looking down and being like, what's wrong with me? And there wasn't anything wrong with me. It's normal. It's part of postpartum. It's your body doing what it needs to do. So just know that it's something that most all of us go through is the postpartum hair loss. You're not going to go bald. It will feel like it, okay? Like you will look down in the shower and be like, oh my gosh, is this okay? One of the things that I did to help with postpartum hair loss is I started to include a scoop of collagen every day. So I would put it into my coffee. Not only did it help with my postpartum hair loss, but it's also really good for your skin, your nails, your bones. It's awesome. I used a brand called Vital Proteins. No, I don't make any commission off of it. No, I'm not selling it to you. I'm just sharing with you the brand that I chose and that I really liked. So Vital Proteins. I got the unflavored kind, and I just put it in my coffee. You could put it in if you drink a shake or something. You could put it in with that. So don't freak out when your hair falls out. Next thing, it's really common that after you have a baby, your eyesight changes, and sometimes it's not always for the better. So if you do not have an eye appointment scheduled, get that scheduled, go get it checked out, and see if your eyes have changed at all. Another thing is the dentist. When you went to the dentist when you were pregnant, you wouldn't have been able to get an x-ray series. So you would have probably skipped your last x-rays. So when you go back, which you should, you need to go back and you need to make sure that you're current on your x-ray series because, again, you may have skipped. So get a dentist appointment scheduled, get an eye appointment scheduled, and then last but not least, I'm going to kind of preach for one quick second because to me this is very, very important. So for me, for those of you who don't know this, we were on an infertility journey between my son and my daughter. So my son was actually, we had infertility issues for 4 years. It was crazy. We couldn't figure out why we couldn't get pregnant. And whenever you try to get pregnant, one of the first things that they do and that they check is your thyroid. So they will take a test. They'll take a blood test to see what your TSH is. So that stands for your thyroid stimulating hormone. And your TSH is something that it's a good starting point, but it is not going to answer all of your questions. So some of you may have hypo or hyperthyroidism. There's two. There's hypo and hyper, and you may not realize it, but it often presents itself postpartum. Now, it doesn't present itself like 6 weeks postpartum. It's something that you're going to feel down the road. So I would suggest get an appointment with your PCP probably around 3 to 6 months. Your PCP can do this initial test. If it comes back that your TSH is elevated at all, then I'm going to tell you don't mess around and find a really good endocrinologist and go that route, okay? Because here's the deal. Most doctors are only going to test your TSH, what I talked about a second ago. If your numbers are super high or super low, then they'll be like, okay, here's Thyroid, you have a thyroid condition. But you may have more than a thyroid condition. You may have an underlying autoimmune condition, and I found that out the hard way. So I went in, and my numbers, so for example, your number, they want it to fall between 0 and 4 for your TSH. So that's like they say normal, but even 4 is kind of high, to be honest with you. I wouldn't want my TSH at 4. I would need to be medicated. But moral of the story is I went in and my TSH was 13.28, so I was really high. And so then from there, they were like, oh, you need to start on medication. So I started on levothyroxine. Levothyroxine actually gives me anxiety, so I had to stop taking it. But it took us 2 years until I finally got smart and said, I should probably see an endocrinologist. When I saw the endocrinologist, they went a step farther, and that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. So they didn't just test my TSH, they tested it's called my T3 and my T4, and they test the T3, T4 reverse. In addition, they do a thyroid ultrasound. Okay, they're looking for something called goiters on your thyroid. These are going to be all red flags that you have, some of you might have Hashimoto's, some of you might have Graves', but these are actual autoimmune conditions. And so it kind of requires a little bit of a lifestyle change if that is what you have. So for me, my lifestyle change meant I needed to be gluten-free. I needed to pay attention to, chemicals that were in my products and whatnot. It's a long story, but that's kind of what made me what I like to call a crunchy mom, was my thyroid journey. So I won't go into it too much more, but I just want you to know that every female who's ever given birth really should get their thyroid checked at least 6 months out, a year out. If you find yourself feeling extremely tired or anxious, or depressed. These are two things that go along with your thyroid. It may not be that you just have depression or that you have anxiety. You might actually have a thyroid condition, and the fix is really simple. So, anyways, I hope this was helpful. I hope it eases your mind in regards to what can you expect here in the coming weeks, months, postpartum that you're dealing with. I would love it if you will continue to follow along with my postpartum journey and share yours with me on Instagram. For those of you who are already following, you know that my username is at SarahElizabeth27. If you're new and haven't connected with me over there, please go and follow me. Shoot me a message. Let me know that you watched this YouTube video. If you ever need help with your postpartum journey in regards to weight loss, nutrition, I'm your girl. Just reach out. I'd be happy to include you in one of my client accountability groups. Thanks for watching.